Okay. This build is working out oddly well. It's really weird. But it is working oddly well. It's kind of a pseudo Doom build. If I can get the Channeler guy, or who else is available at the... Yeah, the Channeler at level 3 would be really a decent tank. Nyx of the Old Moon is not terrible. Although he is not very tanky. So we'd have to move this guy down to Archer only. No. That is a max level Archer. We're not doing that. Transforms... No. To a random item is actually not bad because he does have an open slot. So, Potion Belt. That's not terrible, but that's actually not that bad. Now that I actually have a second to look at it. Here's the problem. We're not going to be doing a lot of I mean, that's going to help a little. I mean, we're definitely not winning in 2 turns. I think we can win, though. Well, maybe we can't win. Oh, I think we just lost. Because even if I would have won this... Okay. Well, that sucks. This is going to be a short episode. I'm sorry, guys. It's been almost a year since I started playing this game, by the way. It's amazing. And so what I like to do, actually... It's not this. I kind of wish there was a way to look at all the stuff from the beginning. But here, we'll do this. Just gonna... Because I want to go in. And for this episode, I want to go ahead and look at... What do I get? Oh, I got items cost on scope. I'm going to go ahead and I want to look at all characters. Because a lot more have been revealed. You can see some of them have been in victory parties, a lot haven't. But let's take a look so that you guys get a good episode on this anniversary, almost, of when we started playing the game. And let's look at the characters that you can get. Because there are probably some people who are like, I don't understand. I don't understand what characters do what. I get that a lot. It's like, why did you do that? So let's take a look at this. They are in alphabetical order of, you know, when they're first revealed. So the first thing you have to remember is that there's 3 sections of your champions. People who are available in all areas but are level appropriate. People who are only available in the latter 2/3 of the dungeon. And people who are only available, your named champions, are only available at the end of the dungeon. So, first you have Agua, as we'll call him. He is a lizard folk archer. Remember, these keywords determine certain equipment and abilities. Starts with, and here's the really cool stuff. You can see all this stuff. He's even killed a god. How's that? Starts at 3 health, 1 attack, and a speed of 6. Speed is the stat that doesn't really change when you level up. At least I've never seen it. And then at max level will only be 4 hit points, but 3 attack. And whenever an ally dies, gain 2 power. He's definitely a lizardman character. You want to pair him up with the lizardmen who have schemes, or you want to pair him up with the lizardmen who summon other lizardmen, because they are going to have lots of help in giving this guy a full board, and then as they die, he's kind of a glass cannon, but that's not necessarily bad. The Armored Knight, 6 hit points, no attack, frontline only. That's very important, by the way. 4 speed, human fighter. Special ability, bonus attack equal to whatever their armor is. You can see at his lowest level, he has no attack. Level him up, and he will gain 1 attack, but 11 health. The Armor Knight is definitely built for either armor builds, or if you get 1 or 2 really good armor items, that will just, you know, there's a counter. And we'll get to the end of the thing, and we'll get to stuff that I really want in this game. It's like, because there's a couple of things I'd really like to see in this game. But you can give him certain things to give him armor, and he gets really powerful. There are 3 basic classes of champions. You have archers, you have fighters, and you have mages. Archers are kind of your go-in-between. They have decent damage, decent health. Fighters are your tanks. They have very low attack, but very good health. And mages are your damage dealers. They have really good attacks and abilities, but very pathetic health. Speaking of people who need to help the Armor Knight, we have the Armor Smith, a human fighter, 3 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, 4 health. At the end of the round, give another ally in this lane 2 armor, but you level him up. He not only gets a shiny hammer and 6 hit points, give another ally in this lane 4 armor. Put him behind the Armor Knight or anybody else who uses armor, and he will just, it'll be an unbreakable row. Keep in mind, it says another ally in this lane. If you're like me, you've put your hero behind them, and you accidentally gave it to him sometimes. So, only he and his target need to be in that lane. Very great character. As you can see, hired him a decent amount. The Berserker, a dwarf fighter. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, 3 health. Every time he takes a hit, which is counter, he's going to gain power. We level him up. Not only does he look way ready for battle with 7 hit points, but now you hit him and he gains 3 power. Put him in a healing build, slap a potion belt on him. Or I think there's an item that whenever you take a hit, you also gain health. I can't remember what it is. This guy, if you can make him unkillable, he will just wail through anything. 4 attack is really good in this game. The Channeler, somebody I really wanted in that last build. He is an elf fighter. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, 3 health. But his follow-up, which means whenever he takes his turn, when he's not moved, when he's not paralyzed, when he gets to attack, with that 1 measly attack, you don't care because he triggers every other allied Doom effect on the field. If you have a Doom party, you're getting 2 or 3 extra Doom effects per turn. It can really stack. Level him up, and he'll have 7 hit points, no other stats. He's definitely meant to be your tank of your Doom build, and he's meant to just enable your Doom builds. But he's really useful. Not so great on his own, but really useful in a comp. Cleric of the Path. Always, always, always useful. I'll try to remember to hover over these records too so you can see. Your stereotypical healer. he is a human mage. 2 hit points, 1 attack, backline restriction, 2 speed. When he takes his turn, he will also restore 1 health to a damaged non-heroic ally. The hero at the backline cannot be healed. Heal his character records, not bad. And what makes him really great for these hope builds, hope is whenever you heal, it triggers it. He gains 1 attack and 4 hit points, much snazzier outfit, but now he'll heal 2 for a damaged outfit. You can also give him a staff for 12 gold that will let him heal as a follow-up, so he can put out even more healing. It's amazing. You can also pair him up with the Cleric of the Rose, another human mage, 2 hit points, 1 attack, backline only, 2 speed, but his hope a bit, whenever someone, say, gains hit points or heals, deal 1 damage to the nearest enemy in this lane. It's really good how good his damage can be, because level him up and he has 4 hit points and 2 attack, but will deal 2 damage to the nearest enemy in his lane. So he'll double attack, or maybe even triple attack if you can just get some healing items and a cleric on your team. It's very useful, and it's very amazing. He is also triggered by Occultist. Oh, I think I forgot that. Sorry, guys. Here's Occultist character records. 3 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, 5 speed, Doom, which is whenever somebody dies on the enemy side, restore 1 health. Now, look at this for a fighter. He doesn't gain any hit points. He doesn't gain any attack. He doesn't gain any speed. What's the point of the cultist? Doom. Restore 3 health. The channeler can ensure that he gets at least 3 health a turn. You need to give him every damn shield. There's also a shield I love to give my cultists. It's called the Venom Shield. It's not the heaviest one. It only gives you 4 hit points, but it poisons you at the start of every turn. Why is that important? Because you want his doom to trigger. You want his healing to trigger. You put him in builds that are built on hope. And because he's poisoned every turn, he takes damage every turn. If he takes damage every turn, he can heal every turn, and he can trigger hope again. It's very useful and very important. The Divine Protector. I've used him a little. Not a lot. He's not really going to win a lot of battles. He's a tank. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline only, 4 speed. This is important. He used to only power up your mages, but when an ally is summoned, give them shield. He was not getting... There's too many good choices for a mage build. He was not getting any love. So what they did was they made him more for summon builds, which frankly can use a little work. Level him up. He gets 9 hit points. He gets 1 attack. When an ally is summoned, they get shield. So you want him in builds where you're summoning throughout the fight, because then your little summon guys can tank 2 hits instead of at least 1. It's amazing. And he's not too shabby either. Summon builds are not very viable right now because all summons are pretty much triggered off of 2 things. Either you have to kill an enemy, or you have to get to the end of the first turn, which is a little hard to do. And speaking of summon builds, we have our Druid, 2 hit. These are, by the way, these are the plus stats. I'm showing you more, if I were to go back down to a regular difficulty. But since we're playing on plus, it's important to give you their stats here. There's his character record. He is a human mage with 2 hit points, 1 attack, backline restriction, 3 speed. After the first round, summons 2 doves. As he gains levels, he gets 4 hit points and 2 attack. But after the first round, summons 2 wolves. At level 1, doves are no attack, 1 hit points. At level 2, ravens are 1 attack, 1 hit points. And at level 3, wolves are 1 attack, 4 hit points. Put him with the Divine Protector, you've got a pretty damn good line. Again, the big weakness is that he only does this once per battle. And against your final bosses, they're just not going to last very long. As well as you really don't have any good choices for... I mean, summon builds are a little weak right now because you can't get too many characters, and they fill up most of the slots anyway. And you can't... It's hard to build synergy. You have to get really lucky. The Enchanter. Don't let the gnome fighter fool you. He is going to be with all mages. He's 3 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, and 5 speed. At the end of the round, all allied mages give 1 power, which means they deal 1 extra damage the next time they hit. He becomes decently tanky with 8 attack and 8 hit points and 2 attack. And there's his character record. Why is it tracking lucky coins? What? So I think the lucky coin can either be turned into something cool or sold for a lot of money. I can't remember which. Somebody post in the comments below for me. He's basically meant to help your mages. You put him in the front. 8 hit points means he'll tank decently, and your mages can unleash hell. Fey Adept, an Elven Mage with 1 hit point at this difficulty level, 1 attack, backline restriction, and 3. He is poisonous. He can fit into poison builds, and all allied summoned characters have 1 attack. So now you're summoning either 1/1s, 2/1s, or 2/4s, which does make him help. But he can't take any damage, which makes him really hard to use. He does gain up to 3 hit points, and allied summoned characters will have 3 attack. So he has his place in summoned and poison builds, or combo builds like that. He's just a little hard to utilize, as you can probably tell from my records. The Fey Adept. He's killed 2 gods. He is a human mage, 2 attack, 2 hit points, and 1 attack, backline only, 3 speed. Will also damage enemies in the same column. So you hit the center, he's going to hit the top and the bottom. You hit the bottom, he's going to hit the center and the top. He gets really good stats, 4 hit points and 3 attack. Basically, you can deal up to 9 damage a turn with this guy. He's really meant to wreck the place. The Holosphex, a elf mage, 1 attack, 1 hit point, no attack. No attack. Keep that in mind. And 4 speed. If he can't attack, you can't give him things that trigger follow-up. You can't boost his attack. So what does he do? Whenever an enemy dies, we'll deal 1 damage to a random enemy. We level him up. He gets 3 hit points, but he deals 4 damage to a random enemy. He clears the board very well. This makes him a really good choice to take through the 3rd dungeon, but you probably want to replace him depending on which gods you're fighting, because if you're fighting the ghosts, he's not good because you're never going to kill the ghosts, so he's never going to trigger. If you're fighting either the other 2 gods who do summon things constantly, he's okay against the demon god, Illithar, but against our original Abaddon, Abaddon summons so much stuff he can clear that board real easy. A lot of kills. Here's our Hunter. Basic but useful human archer. He has 3 hit points. He has 1 attack, no restriction, 3 hit speed. His follow-up is deal 1 health to the lowest damage to the lowest health enemy. This helps him pick things off, maybe enables a little bit of doom. He has superb stat gains with 6 hit points and 3 attack. Sadly, his follow-up never gets better. I would like to see his follow-up get a little bit of a buff. I really would. Because I feel like he could get away with 2 and still be decently balanced. Hypogen, a lizard folk fighter. He has 4 hit points. He has 1 attack, frontline restriction, 6 speed. Lizard folk are pretty speedy. Scheme, which means whenever he does not take a turn, if he's paralyzed, or if you move him and he gets exhausted, he will restore 1 health for each allied lizard folk, which is pretty good given that he has a base HP of 9 at level 3. So you have him tank for a couple rounds, then you switch him, and he gets a couple of rounds. He heals when you switch him, and if you move him back, he heals again, which is probably going to bring him back up to 4 HP. It's a very useful thing. Javonier, human fighter, 4 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, 3 speed. Attacks after gaining armor. So, as you can see, he gains some decent hit points, but no extra attack. So what you want to do with this guy is you want to boost his attack, as well as you want to... There need to be a few more items that boost attack, by the way. You need to be able to boost your fighters. But what you can do with this guy is you can also give him items that give him armor every round, or there's an item, I think, that gives armor every time you take a hit. And he'll just keep wailing. It's really good. The Lightning Adept. This is a really fun one. He's one of the ones that he does good in any build, but he's really built for power. He has 2 hit points, 2 attack, back only, speed of 4. When he gains power, deals 1 damage to a random enemy. Watch this. Max level will have 4 hit points. Still the 2 attack, which by the way, 2 attack at base level is a lot. But when he gains power, deals 3 damage. So here's how it goes. He deals 2 damage on turn 1. He has an item, or you have an item or a character ability that gives him power. He deals another 3 damage. Then he deals 2 plus power damage. The next round, he is just laying waste to everything, and it's amazing. Mage of the Sun. A very difficult one for me to use for some reason. 2 hit points, 2 attack, backline restriction, speed of 4, gains double the amount of power. Now he gets a really great 4 attack, but a really puny 4 hit points. His ability does not get any better. It gains double the amount of power. So you probably want to give him stuff that's going to boost his power, but let's be honest, no. He's really difficult to use. The Night Marksman. He is our Elf Archer with 3 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, speed of 7. Doom gains 1 power. We level him up. He only gains 1 hit point. I think he needs at least 1 more hit point, if not 2. His Doom is gain 3 power every time something dies. The problem is with this is right now, and I don't remember if they fixed this or not. Whenever he kills, if he sets off a massive Doom wipe, his attack resets all the way back to 1, even if his Doom should still go up. He gains power, but it erases the power. Power is only supposed to go away after they hit, not before. So it's a bug. I think they need to fix that. He'll be more useful when it's fixed. The Prexitor, a Lizard Folk Archer. I don't use him a lot, you see why. Lizard Folk Archer, 3 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, speed 7. When this character kills an enemy, gain 1 power to all Lizard Folk and is inexhaustible. His ability does not get better. He gains some hit points. He gains really good attack though. And he's inexhaustible. He's really meant to just dance around, and with a speed of 7 he goes first a lot of times. So you're meant to ensure his kills. And by ensuring his kills, he's going to just keep giving power to everybody. He's really good, he's just really hard to use. Prelator. Lizard Folk Fighter, very easy to use in lots of builds. Because you can see, even though I don't get to play a lot of Lizard Folk, he's killed 2 gods. 3 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed 5. If the character kills an enemy, they attack again. And he's going to have 6 hit points and 3 attack. He's a fighter who gives up some tankiness for good hit attack. So he can get multiple kills per round. It makes him very easy to plug and play into whatever build you're trying to do with. The Rogue. Lucky coins. Why the lucky coins? Gnome Fighter. 2 hit points, 1 attack, no restrictions, speed of 6, poisonous and inexhaustible. This guy's meant to dance around, poison whatever's going to be killed, and keep moving. He gets 5 hit points, he gets 3 attack, and he's got a little boot scoot buggy in him. He's really good at enabling characters who trigger off of poison, or poisoning characters so that things happen. I like to give him the little mushroom that heals whenever something is... I can't remember if something is poisoned or something dies, but it's a very useful thing for him to have. The Royal Guard. Very useful. Very, 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 very useful. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 3. When the character gains health, your hero gains 1 power. Look at this. 9 hit points, and your hero gains 2 power. He's a really great tank for your healing and hope builds. And he makes your hero hit harder every time. So if you trigger just 2 heals a turn, which is not impossible to do, and that's what you're building for, at least, your hero's going to do at least 4 more damage. Your hero's going to be killing a lot of stuff. It's very useful. He's very useful. The Sharpshooter. There he is. Human Archer, 2 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, speed of 4. When an enemy gains poison, deal 1 damage to them. Now we're talking 5 hit points, 1 attack still, but when the character gains poison, deals 3 damage to him. Gains poison means hit with an attack that causes poison. If you're already poisoned, you still gain poison. It does not stack, but you still gain it. So every time the rogue hits, even if the rogue's still hitting somebody, this guy's hitting for 1, 2, or 3 more damage. It's very cool and very useful. The Squire. He is a human fighter with 3 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, speed of 5. Give another ally in this lane, which is left to right, 1 power. We're going to buff him up here. He only has 6 hit points. He's more of a mid to backline dude, but now he's gaining the person ahead of him 3 power. That's really good for that Royal Guard. No, I'm sorry, not him. That's really good for that Mage of Sun. You put him in front of him, and look, all of a sudden, he's not doing 2 attack around. He's not doing 4 attack around. He's doing 4 plus 3 times 2, which he's doing 10. 10 damage will wipe out most things in this game. The Steel Summoner is a personal favorite of mine just because I like him. He's an elemental mage, so not human, not elf, not dwarf, not... Keep that in mind. So I'm wondering if in canon, he's literally just an elemental spirit possessing the armor. He's Alphonse Elric, everybody. He has 4 hit points. He has 1 attack. He is frontline only. He has a speed of 2. After the first round, summon a lesser Metal Wisp. A Metal Wisp gives you armor. Buff him up, and he'll have 7 hit points and summons a greater Metal Wisp, which is, I believe it still only gives you 1 armor, but I think it's a 2 attack, 3 hit point spirit. There should be a little card here next to him that shows that. Unfortunately, it's not. He's really good for metal builds, and if you play around with your formation, you can ensure the Metal Wisp will always give armor to the person in front of him. And if the person in front of him is, say, an Armor Knight, you can give him a lot of armor. It's really great. The Sword Dancer is a really cool fighter who can plug into almost any build. He's an elf fighter, 4 hit points, 1 attack, front only, speed of 6, inexhaustible, and an extra point of attack while at maximum health. Buff him up, and he has 8 hit points, 2 attack, still inexhaustible, has 3 extra attack while at maximum health. So at speed at 6, he's probably going first. So he's going to hit for 5. Put him in a hope build, give him a potion belt, give him a ring that heals when you counter or anything, and he's really good. The Tanner is something that people tell me is useful, but as you can see, I just don't, it's not my thing. Human fighter, 2 hit points, 2 attack is pretty good. Speed of 3. If the character kills an enemy, gain 1 gold. And you can buff him up. He gets faster and more hit points. Does not gain more gold. There's a lizard folk version of this too. My biggest issue is that, and this is, they're adding so many characters that's why I think they need to have bigger parties, because there's so many characters that can be hard to build for certain things now. You really aren't meant to keep him the entire game, because those stats he's not really going to bring anything to the old gods. He's meant for, I don't know what to take. I'll take this guy. And hopefully he gains a few kills and gives you some extra gold. It's just really hard to do. I prefer to just build for something useful. The Tinkerer. Haven't really used him because this no mage is really hard to use. He has 3 hit points. 1 attack, no restriction. Speed of 0. Which means that I believe he goes after you, or I can't remember. I've only used him once, as you can see. I can't remember if that means he goes after your hero or if he doesn't go. There are items you can give more speed so that attack will get used. And as you can see, his stats don't change. At the end of the round, if this character has power, summon a bomb that deals 6 damage. Here's the problem. The bomb does damage to everybody in a lane, including your characters. It's impossible to build around. It's a quirky, cool thing, but it's not something I'm interested in. The Venomancer. Yeah, Venomancer is really good, guys. This human mage has 2 hit points, 1 attack, backline only, and speed of 2. He is poisonous, which means he's inflict poison. And then his follow-up is deals 1 damage to all poison enemies. That's really good. You know what's better? Level 3, because he has 4 hit points. He has an attack of 3, and he deals 3 damage to all poison enemies. And they made him poisonous in an update, so he will always trigger this unless he kills. It's amazing. You can count on him doing at least 6 damage per round. If you have other poisonous characters and items too, he's going to multiply that. It's not uncommon for him to deal 12 to 15 points of damage total per round. He wipes things out. The Wraith Conduit is kind of fun and quirky to use, but I really like him a lot. He's a human mage with 2 hit points, 2 attack, backline restriction, speed of 2. He always targets the lowest health enemy in any lane. Doesn't matter his positioning. He always hits the lowest health. When he takes damage, he will attack. That does not change, but he does gain 4 health and 4 attack. So, how do you do this? Well, you can give him a ring that inflicts poison on him, so he's going to attack at least once a turn. 4 hit points makes it a little hard. You can multi-class him to fighter, then give him a shield and stuff so that hopefully he's a little more tanky. They're all counter items and potion belts that you can give as well. And in fact, but that's the biggest problem. The game is so short that if I could build anything for him, I'd give him both the ring that poisons and the potion belt. So he takes 1 damage and heals 1 damage every single round. So he's doing 8 damage a round, but that's really hard to get because it's random. Now into the more mid-tier champions. A Mugen, a level 2 lizard folk mage, 4 hit points, 1 attack, backline restriction, speed of 2. The scheme is give 1 power to all lizard folk. The only stat that gets better is their scheme, which is an extra 2 power. Since they only have 1 attack, there's no reason not to move every single damn turn you can. Because you're sacrificing 1 hit point, 1 attack, to give everybody else 2 power. Now, eventually, the mage will build up so much power on this as well, because it's all allied lizard folk. It helps them too. So eventually, they will build up so much. I believe that's how it works. I've killed an old god with you? Weird. Eventually, they will build so much power that you'll want to just nuke them with their attack. But it's still pretty cool. The Arcane Archer. A level 2 elf archer, 2 hit points, 1 attack, no restriction, 4 speed. Give all allied mages in this column plus 2 power. 3 hit points and give all allied 3. Here's the problem with the Arcane Archer. You can see I haven't used him much. If I have room for an Arcane Archer, I probably just want another mage. Unless I'm building a power mage build, which not Sage of the World, somebody that really likes. Here's the thing, they're never going to be tanky enough to be on the front line. And in the back line, they're never really going to be better than most mages I can fit. So, yeah. Still good, though. The Assassin, a gnome fighter. 4 hit points to attack, frontline restriction, speed of 4. And at first you're thinking, he's just another rogue, but he's not. First of all, he's not inexhaustible. This is 5-3. It's 5-2. But he also inflicts poison, and enemies take an extra 2 damage from poison. I haven't tested it out enough to remember if the enemy unit takes 2 damage from theirs or from all poison. I'm guessing it's from all poison because it says from poison, not from poison assassin does. But somebody can correct me down below. A Vulcan Guard. Really cool elf fighter that I want to use more, but a little hard to use. Here's why. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 6. For the counter, whenever they take a hit, summon a dove. They'll summon a raven with 6. Did you gain speed? You did not. They'll gain 2 hit points and the ability to summon a raven, which can actually do damage. Really cool for summon builds and for characters who The biggest problem with elemental builds and the biggest problem with summon builds is that you can't summon anything substantial, and they die you want them to die fairly easily, but the ways to do it are a little hard. Battle Cleric. Very useful Dwarven Mage. 4 hit points, 1 attack, frontline only, speed of 2. All characters in this column, which is your entire frontline, will restore 1 health every time they move. It will gain 7 here. This is how you trigger your hope builds. Ideally, you're triggering it 3 times. That's a lot, and that's really cool. Very useful for your hope builds. Battle Mage. A really cool mage character. 7 hit points, 1 attack, front only, speed of 3. When this character gains power, they also restore 1 health. They also get 9 hit points at level 3. It's like 10 at the regular levels. That's really good, guys. This is meant to be your front... When you're building a mage party, this is one of your frontline fighters, because they get the code word mage, so they get all of the buffs, and they can equip mage stuff, so they can get very useful. There is a really cool staff that gives an extra 3 attack to mages, but takes 1 or 2 hit points, I don't remember. This is really the only mage who can use it. This is the only mage with a health pool big enough to use it. The Blood Leech is an elf mage who we've used a bit, but not a lot. 2 hit points, 2 attack, backline restriction, speed of 3. Every time there's a doom, they'll summon a Blood Wisp. They can summon a greater Blood Wisp. 4 hit points. A Blood Wisp is I think it's a greater Blood Wisp is a 2/3 summonable elemental that you can use. So again, really good for elemental builds and summon builds, but again, those are just a little weak right now. They really need buffs. They need to buff these characters and give them better characters you can build around. Speaking of which, the Elemental Mage, Venomancer, 2 hit points, 1 attack, backline only, speed of 2. When an allied elemental is summoned, gains 1 attack. After the first round, summons a Lightning Wisp. So 1 attack, not 1 power. And at max level, he'll have 3 hit points and 2 attack. So you will always be able to do... Well, you will usually be able to do 3 attack for most of the... Which is pretty good. Summoning the Lightning Wisp is also pretty good. Here's the issue. There are too many maps in this game that take up spaces to where you cannot summon. So summon builds are really weak on those maps. And there's no getting around it. It makes them very, very hard to use. I've used him a fair amount because he's still really cool. But again, they need bigger parties so that does not happen, and they need buffs. The Immortal, who I love because we fight in the shade. He's a human fighter. He gains 7 hit points, 2 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 3. Doesn't lose armor at the end of the round. Armor goes away at the end of the round unless you have special abilities, which he does. You can stack a lot of armor on this guy, and he has 9 hit points to give you a chance to stack a lot of armor on this guy. I've gotten this guy even at higher difficulties up to like 15, 20 armor. You can tank anything with 15 to 20 armor. The Maladox, a lizard folk mage. A little bit of use. 2 hit points, 2 attack, backline restriction, speed of 6. When this character gains power, they also gain shield. Scheme is to curse the nearest enemy. So, whenever you boost their attack, and it's a little too rare to boost their attack reliably. I think there's items that can do it, but again, there's just so many that the chance of you getting that is low. But whenever this guy boosts his attack, you will get... Whenever he gains power, you're also going to gain a shield, which is going to help. You're going to also move around, which is curse the nearest enemy. It's not bad, it's just a little hard to use, and even with all those keywords, I can either use the power, or I can use the scheme, but I can't do both, which kind of sucks. But, you know, it's nice to have the option of which of the two you want to do at any given time. Sorry about that. I have an injury on my foot. I was worried it was bleeding again. But it's not. Moving on. The Ranger. 3 attack. Why do I keep doing that? 3 hit points. 2 attack. No restriction. Speed of 6. There's the stats. When an ally is summoned, gains 2 power. Level 3, 4 hit points and gains 3 power. Really good for summon builds. Summon builds are terrible because I'm using rangers or characters with lower hit points, and then I'm trying to. It's so hard to reliably summon in this game. It's so hard to reliably summon. Most summons only occur once a fight. If the fight is more than 3 rounds, you gain very big diminishing returns. So, useful but difficult to use. The Royal Captain, who's killed 3 gods because he's awesome. Human Fighter. 7 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 5. The end of the round gave all characters in this column, which is up, down, middle, and down, 1 armor. You got an armor build? You got characters who gain stuff when they get armor? Put a little captain in them. Does not gain more armor. I wish he did, because armor is... It's at the end of the round. I don't feel like 2 armor is really breaking the thing. I do enjoy how he gains 2 health and 1 attack. I'd really like to see him gain 2 armor at level 3, though. Sage of the Word, who's killed a god. When did I use you to kill a god? He's a human mage. 2 hit points, 3 attack. Backline only, speed of 2. And then his ability is, you put him in things where you can reliably heal, and he will randomly give out 1 power. Max level, who have 4 hit points and will randomly give 2 power. That's really good. It's a really good supporter for healing. Usually you want lots of people who are going to heal, but The Smuggler, which is what I was talking about. The lizard folk fighter version of the human tanner. 1 tired, never killed. 4 hit points, 2 attack, frontline only, speed of 5. When you hire this character, gains 2 gold for every allied lizard folk. Death gains 1 gold. Then gains 2 gold when he dies. You know what this guy is best for? Even if you're in a lizard party, buy him and immediately sell him and you gain a ton of gold. That's what this guy is most useful for. I really hate that, but that's what he's good for. The Venom Witch, who I love, but I don't use a lot, because poison builds are a little weak right now. Human Mage with 3 hit points, 2 attack, backline restriction, and speed of 2. Will deal double damage to poison characters. This is a buff she's gained right here. After the first round, summon a poisonous slime. It was their attempt to make poison builds a little more tanky. And then she gains really great stats and a hat. 4 hit points and 3 attack. Still double damage, but after the first and second round, summon a poisonous slide. So they tank better. That's them trying to make the poison builds and the witch a little more viable. I like it. I feel like poison builds still need a little help. The Void Summoner, an Elven Mage. Used a little. 2 hit points. No attack. Speed of 2. At the end of every round, will summon an enemy Void Wisp. Greater Void Wisp. Those are the things that will spawn on the enemy side and immediately kill themselves to trigger Doom. That's really cool. The problem is you can't really buff her. I mean, sure, you can give her some defensive items so she lives a little longer. But you can't give her an attack. You can't really give her anything to do. She's got 2 hit points. She's going to die and get torn through like wet toilet paper. There's just so many other better Doom things. Although, I should probably use her more because she is guaranteeing at the top of every round characters' Dooms are going off. Now, here at the Abyss, it's a little special. You can see these are all named champions. Even this one. So that's cool. They're very powerful characters. The Elemental Fighter, keep in mind that's an Elemental. Ares, the Lost Knight. The only problem I have with these named Abyss champions is that you get them for so little part of the game, and sometimes your build is just set unless the proper one appears. 9 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 2. When the character gains armor, they also gain 3 power. That's good, but my armor builds are usually 4 by the... Again, you know what would be really cool is if you unlock extra slots as you go through the dungeon. So that you cannot fill up your party and you can always use more. But that would also require more gold. That would also require longer dungeons to earn the gold, which I would love to see, don't get me wrong. High Mother Lightning Caller, a level 3 elf fighter. 5 hit points, 1 attack, speed of 4. Every time they get hit, give all other allies 1 power. Really cool for power builds. You don't have armor long enough to reliably give them the equipment they need to be able to tank, because 5 hit points is pretty average. That's 2 or 3 hits at the end of the game for a lot of fights. So you don't reliably have a way to do it. Cyril is somebody who I really want to use, but again, Human Mage, the issue is that, again, your party is so often full. 3 hit points, 2 attack, no restriction, speed of 3. When an ally is summoned, will restore 1 health. At their death, they transform. They transform into 1 attack, 15 hit point bear, which is good for beast builds. I don't remember, so I've never used them because, again, I'm always full. So I don't know if they still have when ally is summoned, restore 1 health. I'm hoping that they don't lose that, because obviously the whole point of Cyril is to go into bear mode. Edric the Fencing Master. Unlike a lot of these people, is always really useful to put in any party. Human, multi-class, so automatically you can give them whatever items you want. 5 hit points, 2 attack, no restriction, speed of 7. They're going first. They're attacking twice and inexhaustible. Any kind of buff or items you can give Edric, and you are an unstoppable god of death. And they can use every item in the game without the witch's help. That's amazing. Very useful fighter to have for any build. Exeter the Hatchling Ward. 3 hit points. 2 attack. Backline restriction, speed of 4. At the start of the battle and their death, fill your board lizard folk hatchlings. Pretty good, because the lizards get stronger the more they are. So this is going to ensure that you have tons of lizardmen. I've never been able to use them because lizard builds are a little weak. Lyra the Dawn's Light. My favorite Elven Archer. You have 4 hit points. That's not great. You have 1 attack. That's okay. No restriction is good. Speed of 6 is good too. Targets a random enemy in any lane. Well, what's the point of Lyra? Hope attack. Anytime anyone on your side gains hit points. Anytime anyone gains hit points, Lyra is attacking. Give them a bow. Give them 1 or 2 cloaks to give them some hit points. And watch them tear through anything in a hope build. I love Lyra so much. Nigro the Alchemist. Someone who I really want to use. But again, my armor builds are almost always 4. No restrictions, but with 4 hit points, you're probably in the back line. 3 attack is pretty good. Speed of 2 is alright because you're in armor builds. But this Dwarven Mage will gain power every time someone gains armor. Armor builds can gain a lot of armor. But again, I'm almost always 4, which is why I'd like to see a little more tinkering to try to make our Abyss champions a little more usable. Nyx of the Old Moon. All these characters are really cool and powerful. You're usually set by the time you get to them. 5 hit points, 2 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 6. Every time there's a doom, will curse a random enemy and is inexhaustible. If there's anybody in your doom party by the Abyss that you don't really need, replace him with Nyx, and Nyx is just going to help you kill things very quickly. Tar the Exiled, the Beast Fighter. I want them so bad. I want to play with them so bad. 8 hit points, 1 attack, frontline restriction, speed of 2. But has 1 extra attack point for every allied lizardfolk, and if they kill, restores health. You now face the Mighty Minotaur, people. Just lizard builds are so hard, and even when I get lizard builds to the Abyss, I can't find Tar the Exiled. It's so hard. The Devourer would be real. If you can get the poison build to the Abyss and get a Devourer, you're going to be pretty good. 16 hit points means you will be on the field a lot. They don't have an attack. They have a speed of 1. But whenever a poison character dies, summon a poisonous slime. Hey, you know who's really good at poisoning people? Poison builds. They're just really good. I don't know what else to tell you. They're really good. The High Priestess. 3 hit points, 3 attack, backline restriction, speed of 2. As their attack and as a follow-up will restore 1 health to all other allies. So the other champions you have are all gaining health. That's amazing for a health build. That's amazing for just... I'd like to see it restore 2 health, to be honest. 1 health is just dinky little thing, but what are you going to do? And finally, Zed, the Eternal Trickster, who has actually killed an old god. It was actually really cool to get to use him. 2 hit points, 2 attack, no restriction, speed of 8. When the character gains power, summons an immovable mirror image. The immovable mirror image is Zed. 2 hit points, 2 attack, speed of 8. You can't move them, but they make really good blockers. And with a speed of 8, if they don't die on the turn they're summoned... Now, this is actually a really cool, interesting thing to do for summon builds, because this is the only way I've seen to reliably, possibly, summon. There are no mage. You can put them with the gnome fighter, who will always give power at least once a turn. So you can always have an immovable mirror image, but... So what would I like? I would like more options to, like, get these guys maybe at lower levels, because I want to be able to use them, but it's really hard to use them. I would like, also, there's certain challenge runs where you start off with, like, say, Lyra. I would like to have a challenge run where I start off with Tar. I would like to have a challenge run where I start off with Nigro. I would like to have a challenge run where I start with a Devourer and maybe something poisonous to make sure that they trigger. Because you know what? I would like to use these characters more, get a better feel for them. But that's a little hard. Anyway, guys, this has just been a little thing for me to go over. I know the anniversary is coming up, and this was a short episode, so I wanted to do something fun. I kind of wish he had a unspent gold. Yay, 2 points. I kind of wish he had a little thing. He's like, what the hell did you... You didn't do anything. You went home. Guys, thank you so much for watching. More Dungeon Beneath soon. Maybe we'll try that lizard build next time. I'll see you then.